Welcome everybody. In today's Team Tactics video, we're going to go over Jesse Cote's 1K winning team from the Newark 1K in 2020. That's way back in March. This is part of the Majestix Open Series. It was the first 1K of this season, ended up being the only one because of COVID. It's a 300-point Bronze Age event. The team is called Cosmic Manipulation because it's a dice manipulation team with Q and Trelane built around a cosmic theme with the power plant. So hope you enjoy. Let's get right to it. Okay, let's get started with the team list here. As you can see by the picture, it's a cosmic theme +9. Starts with Trelane and Q Prime, both from the Star Trek sets. Trelane's at 50, Q's at 30. He's got the Ultron Phalanx version at 30 points. 2 Dark Phoenix at 30 points. Both are from the X-Men animated series set. Mangog at 30 points from Mighty Thor. Groot at 20. And 2 Flora Colossus at 10 points each. All 3 are from the Avengers Infinity set. His resource of choice is the power plant at 28 points, which means he has 9 rings on there. He's got the Iceberg Lounge location bonus at 5 points, Bat Signal at 2 points, and 25 points in ID cards, which are Green Arrow, Storm, the Bounty version, Rachel Summers, Bucky Barnes, and Hulk. For the Collins, he has the Asgardian Storm, the MP19 version, the Green Arrow Chase from the Elseworlds set. He's got the Common Winter Soldier from the Black Panther Illuminati set. He's got the Fast Forces Mighty Thor Hulk starter at 50 points, and he has Phoenix from the X-Men animated series at 25 points. Also, he has Superman and Firestorm as his Troubalert figures, and his map choices are Iceberg Lounge, Genosha, and Flashpoint Flood. Let's go with the various game elements from the team, starting with the 2 figures that the team is built around, Trelane and Q Prime. Both are the namesake dice manipulators, meaning they can change one die roll on attacks, or in Q's case, super senses as well, with whatever the result on their card is. Starting with Trelane, his dice manipulation is from anywhere on the map, not needing even line of fire to the attacker. He has a stop click, super senses, protected outwit, and willpower, and sidestep. He is mostly used as a backline support piece, being able to function as a secondary ID card battery for 3 of the call-ins. Q Prime is the other dice manipulator, but he also has probability control with innate range. Those 2 things are worth a 30-point price tag by itself. However, his dice manipulation additionally works on super senses, but it is limited to 8 squares, though he doesn't need line of fire to use it as well. Like a lot of the pieces on the team, he has a shallow dial with only 1 click of life, but he does have phase teleport to get around the map and super senses for some protection, along with that special defense power that can be a bit annoying to deal with. The 2 Dark Phoenixes are ironically primary attackers that are also retaliators. They have 3 bolts and 10 range with an 11 attack and 3 damage, and they have sidestep along with being colossal so they can get to most things on the map. These things can heal a lot, especially in a metagame full of bystanders and shallow dial figures. Tough to KO once they start healing, and opponents often have to expend a lot of effort and resources into KOing a 30-point figure once they get off that starting line. Their colossal retaliation is an area of effect that deals penetrating damage, which makes it even better. Furthermore, they don't have colossal indifference, which means after they retaliate, they can still make a regular attack against any bad guy. They also combo very well with power plant rings. There are too many to name, but trust me, the more you play the team, the more synergy you will find. Did I mention they're power cosmic, so they have willpower and can't be outwitted, as if all the above wasn't enough to cram into a 30-point piece. Mangog is another retaliator with a crazy retaliation. It's an area of effect as well, but he gets to make 2 attacks instead of 1. Go ahead and read it, it's one of the better ones, and since he has super strength, there's a good chance there will be some knockback. He has a high defense with Impervious and Power Cosmic, which makes him tough to crack since you would need a penetrating damage effect to get rid of him, or Precision Strike. On the off chance you actually get to pull the Odin Sword, which is his trait, it's a win more effect, and it would be extremely difficult for anyone to come back from, especially considering he starts the game at 30 points. The Ultron Drone is a pretty straightforward piece on this team and has one main function, an ID card battery with sidestep that has pseudo-autonomous. You can read the trait if you want to see how it works. It can call in any ID card on the sideline since it counts as 120 points until it's KO'd, and it does have some protection in invulnerability from it being one-shotted so easily. Groot is yet another crazy retaliator on this team. He is necessary on a team with this many figures since he has leadership. He He also generates amazing bystanders, which are the Walking Woods, which have sidestep, flurry, plasticity, shape change, toughness, and he does make 2 to start, with more to follow as long as he keeps hitting. The 2 Flora Colossus are mainly on the team as a cheap way to increase the theme bonus, since they are only 10 points each. However, it can randomly become tough to KO if it starts healing, especially if it is in water terrain, which the Iceberg Lounge has plenty of. They are also used as a meat shield to protect the smaller characters or to carry them around to get into position or out of harm's way, and overall it can be used as a line of fire blocker since they can put themselves in front of other Colossus to stop them from getting shot. The bat signal has since gone on the ban list, so the power of this 2-point object is well documented already, but basically it is used to port over your attackers or call-in batteries to get closer to the enemy. The Iceberg Lounge location bonus generates 2 bystanders to serve as body blockers to help trigger retaliation or to take opposing objects. +9 theme is pretty good to get to the Iceberg Lounge map. Alternatively, the bystanders are used to call over Dark Phoenix or Mangog or whoever else you want with the bat signal, basically porting them halfway across the map to start attacking. The power plant. There is so much that this can do. Where do we start? First off, the main thing that most players use is the +1 to combat values for your attacker. ID card call-ins love this. Also, having access to outwit, to be used offensively mind you, is a great secondary option. The power plant is synergistic with range-based teams, which initially this team is, with multiple Dark Phoenixes and range ID card attackers. The combos are once again too crazy to name. However, the trump card, if you will, is the disintegration beam plus dice manipulation to take away or eliminate resources and relics from the game. Lastly, the ID cards. Green Arrow and Storm are essential on almost all teams that can use them. If you play in Bronze Age, you know these 2 are staples of the format. Burning Rings to give them bonuses to all their stats is just too good. Turn off defense powers with Green Arrow to one-shot figures that you normally can't. And Pulse Waving with Storm for some crazy damage with her knockback and 4 damage. 5 if you burn a ring. Just note that only the Ultron Joan can call these in. Hulk, Bucky Barnes, and Rachel Summers. These are all low enough points that multiple figures on the team can call them in, so your opponent won't know where the call-in will come from next. It's a good mix, with Hulk being a close combat beast, and when used right, can give adjacent characters +1 attack and charge. Walking Woods and Dark Phoenix come to mind. Bucky Barnes is a solid range attacker, but more importantly, the inspiration prevents the use of shape change, so the Dark Phoenixes can get through the plethora of shape change in the format, like decoys and symbiotes. Rachel Summers is therefore an additional retaliation, but can also be used for TK and poison when needed, and can be combined with burning a ring for an outwit to get through defenses. Assuming you go first, that's why you're +9, right? The seals take opposing objects and bait the opponent to KO them, in which case the retaliation chain begins. You do have quite a bit of retaliators. If the bat signal is still there on turn 2, the seal can call over Dark Phoenix and get the party started. At that point, it's just a train of retals and follow-up attacks until the overwhelming numbers win you the game. One of the main plans is to start healing the Dark Phoenixes early so they become hard to deal with in the mid to late game. Ideally, you'd want to get 4s, 5s, and 6s on Trelane and Q, since it will become easier to hit the necessary 10s needed to delete opposing resources with the disintegration beam once you decide to use it. Action efficiency is key on a team like this, as there are so many moving parts and you only have 4 actions to do it, so keeping Groot alive long enough for you to take advantage of it is a big deal. Don't worry about losing pieces, they're basically all expendable to an extent. It's important to note that since nothing is over 50 points, it is hard for your opponent to assess the biggest threats because the team is so versatile and can come from so many angles, ranging from close attacks with Walking Woods, Groot, and Mangog, to range attacks with the Dark Phoenixes and call-ins, and not to mention the ID cards that are looming. Losing 1, 2, or even 3 attackers won't really put a big dent, as there is wave after wave of attackers, and the ID cards waiting to be called in to swing the game. The various rings can also play a big part, such as the Impact Beam, Flame Blast Ring, and Electro Blast Ring to get extra damage in, and of course the biggest one, the Disintegration Beam. Let me reiterate that the amount of things you can do with the team really depends on your imagination. It's hard to plan for a team like this as there are too many things it can do. So let's start with the main attackers, the Dark Phoenixes. Dark Phoenix being colossal means theoretically she won't have to clear because of colossal stamina, which means you can load her up with many rings for more potent attacks. Up to 4 bolts with Pen Blast at 12 range with Electro Blast and Flame Blast rings on her. We already went over Burning Rings with ID card call-ins for more power, so let's move on. Changing terrain with Matter Rearranger to deal with stealth as well as barrier teams is something that the team can deal with quite easily. Vortex Beam provides the TK needed for your call-ins to be more effective. Impact Beam for easy ways to get free damage, while Black Light Ring can provide some defensive measures with stealth and slowing down your opponent's attacks. Disintegration Beam with the dice manipulation is huge because it can swing the game completely in your favor. Lastly, on the ID card front, just calling in Winter Soldier to use the inspiration is enough value, while Hulk, Green Arrow, and Storm provide the power needed to deal heavy damage. Jesse Cote built a genius team equipped to deal with almost anything the format can offer, and he proved it with his big win at the Newark 1K. The team can be complicated to pilot with so many things to keep track of, not to mention the amount of pieces on the map at any given time, but can be extremely rewarding when piloted correctly. The team does rely a bit on winning map and getting the first turn to set up his game plan, but if the team loses map, it is still versatile and potent enough to win. The team can sometimes be forgiving if errors are made due to the sheer number of figures on the map, and a well-timed Disintegration Beam can easily put the game back within reach or even in your favor. This has been another Team Tactics video. I hope you enjoy this. Like and subscribe and leave a comment on what else you'd like to see. And as always, until next time, when in doubt, perplex the attack.